The rain had begun softly, misting the streets of the city in a gentle grey sheen. Under the dim glow of the street lamps, the figure huddled in tattered layers, shivering despite the thin scarf wrapped loosely around his neck. His eyes, sharp and observant beneath the grime, followed the movements of the people passing by with a practiced detachment. To anyone else, he was just another beggar, a man invisible in a crowd, nothing more than a shadow seeking scraps. But beneath the rags and soot, Alex Adetola, heir to one of the world's largest conglomerates, was studying life, not through the lens of luxury, but through the eyes of those who lived without it. He had chosen this disguise with meticulous care. It was not vanity that had driven him, nor boredom, but a desperate need to discover something no money could buy: genuine love. Every hand that reached for him, every heart that opened to him would be a measure of sincerity untainted by his wealth. And tonight, as he approached a small, bustling restaurant tucked between two towering office buildings, he felt a flicker of anticipation. At the entrance, a young woman emerged, balancing a tray of steaming plates. Her uniform, a simple apron over a faded blouse, clung to her as she hurried to meet the dinner rush. Her eyes were tired but kind, and the faint crease of concern on her forehead betrayed a heart weighed by responsibility. Her name was Clara, and Alex had watched her for weeks, quietly observing her from outside as she worked tirelessly, greeting patrons with warmth and serving with genuine care. "Excuse me, sir," she said, her voice soft but firm. "You look hungry, eh? Come inside, I'll get you something warm." Alex blinked. Most people would have turned away, muttered a curse, or ignored him entirely, but not Clara. Without hesitation, she led him inside, past the clatter of dishes and the chatter of diners, and set him at a small table near the kitchen. She placed a plate of rice, vegetables, and grilled chicken before him, her own lunch stipend sacrificed without a second thought. I can't afford this," Alex murmured, adopting the voice of a man accustomed to begging. "It's fine," Clara replied with a gentle smile, brushing off his protest. "Everyone deserves a warm meal." As he ate, Alex felt something stir within him that no opulent dinner in a gilded hall had ever conjured. Admiration, respect, and an inexplicable warmth. This woman, who barely had enough for herself, was offering kindness without hesitation. It was the first true glimpse he had had of the heart he longed to find. Over the weeks, Alex continued to visit Clara, always in disguise, always careful not to reveal his true identity. Their friendship grew, subtle and slow, as they shared small moments amidst the hum of the restaurant. She confided in him her struggles, her father's illness, her constant worry about bills, and the tiny joys she allowed herself when life permitted. Alex listened, laughed with her, and sometimes even offered words of encouragement, all the while maintaining the careful veil of poverty. Clara, in turn, found comfort in his presence. Though he seemed penniless, there was a gentle dignity in him, a quiet strength that drew her in. She began to look forward to their conversations, the brief respite from her struggles, and the rare laughter that followed his dry, witty remarks. Unbeknownst to her, Alex was not just testing her heart, he was falling helplessly in love. One evening, under the amber glow of the streetlights after the restaurant had closed, Alex took a breath he had been rehearsing for weeks. "Clara," he said, his voice steady, despite the storm of emotion inside him. I have come to care for you deeply. Will you be mine?" Clara's eyes widened in surprise, her hands trembling slightly. She looked at the man she had come to trust, to confide in, to admire, not for his wealth or status, but for the kindness and sincerity he had shown. "Yes," she whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. "Yes, I will." For a time, their love was a secret, sweet and unassuming, blooming quietly against the backdrop of the city's harsh realities. But life, as it often does, demanded its test. Clara's father's illness worsened, and the hospital bills skyrocketed to a sum she could never hope to cover. Desperation gnawed at her every moment, her pride clashing with the urgent need to save her father's life. It was then that a man entered their lives, seemingly a friend of Alex's, though neither of them had met him before. He arrived with a calm confidence, a check for the exact amount needed for the surgery. Clara's eyes widened in disbelief. But how? How can you? Alex, still in his beggar guise, shrugged with a humble smile. My friend insisted. He said he could help. Though the funds were secured and the surgery a success, Clara's heart was troubled. How could a beggar's friend afford such generosity? And why, she wondered, did life continually present Alex as someone far more complex than he appeared? Rumors spread among her friends. "Why are you with a beggar?" they jeered. "You could do so much better. He's nothing." But Clara, steadfast in her affection and admiration for the man she had come to know intimately, dismissed their taunts. To her, Alex had already proven that wealth and status were irrelevant. It was his heart that mattered. The days leading up to the wedding were a whirlwind of activity, though for Clara, it felt like stepping into a dream she didn't fully understand. Invitations, floral arrangements, and the menu were all meticulously handled, yet every detail bore the invisible signature of Alex's friend. She could not shake the curiosity gnawing at her. One evening, as she sat in her small apartment poring over the wedding plans, she finally asked Alex, who had insisted on staying in his humble disguise even as the preparations unfolded. I just don't understand," she said softly, frustration and wonder mingling in her voice. "How is it possible that everything is so perfect? The flowers, the decorations, the food, it's incredible. And your friend, he's I don't even know how to describe him. How can someone who seems like a simple man afford all this?" Alex, his eyes gentle, reached for her hand. "Clara," he said quietly, "sometimes help comes in ways we cannot imagine. You don't need to know everything right now. Trust that it's for you and for us." Clara nodded, but a part of her could not stop thinking. Every time she tried to imagine the friend as a man capable of such lavish generosity, she faltered. It did not make sense. And yet, she did not question Alex's presence in her heart. She had chosen him for who he was, the humble, caring man she had come to love, and that alone had anchored her. Meanwhile, Alex was quietly observing her. Each smile she gave, each laugh, each anxious glance at the preparations, all of which reaffirmed his choice. She was exactly the person he had been searching for. Someone whose love could not be swayed by wealth or appearances. Every act of kindness she had shown him, every moment she had treated him as a human being rather than a mystery, had been proof enough. Yet, there was a storm he had to navigate carefully. Clara had endured teasing and mockery from friends and colleagues who could not understand why she loved a beggar. Some had whispered cruelly behind her back, questioning her judgment and loyalty. Each comment had pricked at her pride, but she had remained steadfast, defending her choice silently to herself. The wedding day arrived in a golden blaze of sunlight. The venue, a sprawling estate overlooking a sparkling lake, was adorned with cascading bouquets of roses, lilies, and orchids. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting rainbows across the marble floors. Guests arrived in a swirl of silk and satin, marveling at the luxury that seemed to have appeared overnight. Clara, in her pristine white gown, felt both exhilarated and anxious. The dress hugged her frame delicately, shimmering as she moved. She could feel every heartbeat, every breath, as though her entire life had led to this single moment. And yet, there was the lingering mystery of the friend who had made all of this possible, the enigmatic figure whose generosity seemed limitless. The ceremony began. Clara walked down the aisle, her hands trembling slightly, as Alex stood at the altar, waiting. The congregation's eyes were on them, curious and expectant. Alex's attire, modest yet elegant, still concealed his true identity. The juxtaposition of simplicity amidst opulence was not lost on Clara, who wondered silently what truth lay behind the man she loved. As they exchanged vows, promising love, loyalty, and honesty, Clara's mind drifted to the many trials they had endured, the hardships, the mockery, the doubts. Every word she spoke carried weight. Every promise felt real because it had been forged through genuine experience rather than wealth or status. Then came the moment of revelation. Alex's friend stepped forward, a knowing smile on his face. He raised a hand to signal for silence, and as he did, the airs seemed to still. With a deliberate gesture, he removed his disguise, the humble coat, the simple scarf, and the dirt-streaked visage that had concealed his true self. Gasps swept through the crowd as the layers of illusion fell away. Standing before them was Alex Adetola, the billionaire, the head of a massive conglomerate, the man whose identity had been hidden from Clara all along. His eyes sparkled with warmth and mischief as he took Clara's hands into his own. "Clara," he said, his voice resonant and filled with emotion. "From the moment I met you, I needed to know the truth of your heart. Not your affection for wealth, not your admiration for status, but your love for me, the man, not the money, not the power. And now, the truth is before us both. I am not the beggar you met at the restaurant. I am Alex Adetola, and I love you more than anything in this world." Tears streamed down Clara's face. Shock, disbelief, and overwhelming joy collided within her. She had loved him for who he appeared to be, and now she realized that her love had been genuine and unshakable, tested through trials she had not even known were designed to prove her heart. The guests murmured in astonishment, some in admiration, others in envy. Clara's friends who had mocked her choice now looked on in stunned silence, unable to reconcile the truth with the simplicity of her love. I don't know what to say," Clara whispered, her voice trembling. "All this, everything, it's incredible. But more than that, I love you. I love you for who you are. Not for the wealth, not for the status, but for the man who sat across from me, shared laughter, shared kindness, and shared life with me." Alex smiled, the weight of secrecy and anticipation lifting from his shoulders. "And that, Clara, is why I knew you were the one. Your heart chose rightly when appearances deceived everyone else. You saw me, truly, and that is a treasure no fortune could ever buy." The ceremony concluded with applause, laughter, and tears, a symphony of emotions that resonated through every guest. As the couple shared their first dance, Clara looked into Alex's eyes and felt a profound certainty. Love had been tested, hearts had been proven, and authenticity had triumphed over pretense. After the celebration, in a quiet moment away from the crowd, Clara asked, "Your friend, the one who provided the surgery, arranged everything, it was all you, wasn't it?" Alex chuckled softly, brushing his strand of hair from her face. "Yes, every detail, every moment of help, every act of generosity. You never knew it, but I wanted to shield you from anything that could make you doubt or fear. I wanted your heart to be free, to choose truly without any influence of wealth. And you did, beautifully. Clara shook her head in amazement. Laughter mingled with tears. All this time, the beggar I fed, the friend who helped, it was all you. Alex nodded. And now, my love, we begin not as a beggar and a girl, but as two souls bound by a love that has endured trials, doubts, and the test of truth. No wealth, no disguise, no pretense, just us, finally, as we were always meant to be.
As they embraced, the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. The city lights shimmered in the distance, reflecting a life transformed, not by money, not by appearances, but by genuine love, courage, and the unyielding strength of hearts that had chosen rightly. The beggar who had walked into a restaurant seeking the truth of love had found it, and in the process, both he and Clara discovered a life of unimaginable richness, measured not in fortune, but in trust, compassion, and the extraordinary beauty of love tested and proven true. If you were in Clara's shoes, would you have loved the beggar the same way even after discovering his true identity? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share